A lot of people like to say that 2026 is the new 2016, with IG Reels going prime iDubbbz mode and saying the most out-of-pocket shit imaginable, peak games coming out left and right, and people overall just having a good time on the internet. But as someone who glazes the 2016 to 2018 era of the internet, I can assure you, while they are very similar, they are not the same. There are three major things that 2026 is missing to be just like 2016. Bear in mind, everything said in this video is just my opinion, and you are more than welcome to express your opinion in the comments. And while you're down there, subscribe and join my Discord. Okay, let's go.
This is not good. I think this is the end.
Yeah, I think this is the end, bro. I think we're dead.
If you don't want to hear me talk about politics, then skip to this timestamp shown on screen. I feel like we kind of have to start with politics since 2016 was an election year that involved Trump. And what people thought about Trump back in the day is completely different to how people view him now. Today, Trump is an extremely polarizing figure, and for good reason. His refusal to release the full Epstein files, his willingness to hire Elon Musk of all people, or how he turned ICE into the modern day equivalent of the Schutzstaffel. But back then, the biggest thing Trump was known for was saying that he was going to build a wall. And the reason why most people did not talk about his connection to Epstein back in the day was how before this election, no one on the internet engaged with politics. Well, I shouldn't say nobody engaged with politics, considering there were a very small group of people that did. But the reason why most people didn't engage with politics is because the people who did were most likely seen as SJWs, which were prime targets of internet mobs back in the day. But also because politics beforehand were just, not gonna lie, boring as shit. So when Trump began clip farming and when Hillary Clinton began referencing Pokemon Go, it made politics more interesting than it actually was. So I guess in terms of politics, I would say they're mostly the same, mainly because both sides are trying to appeal to the internet. Whether it be aura farming after an assassination attempt or hooking up with Megan Thee Stallion, politics are still the same. Well, that was a start to a video. Let's take it back and talk about gaming.
My name is Andrew Dingus.
Gaming was at an all-time peak in 2016. First of all, you actually owned the games you bought, which is basically a foreign concept to every single major game company nowadays. Gambling was in every game, and everybody was dropping straight peak. And while 2026 does have some gems on the way like GTA 6, Wolverine, OOT Remake, and Tokon, the likelihood that you'll actually be able to own these games is very unlikely. But instead of going over the gaming scene as a whole, I want to go over two games that are in the same genre and go over how much of an impact they had. Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. As of recording this, Marvel Rivals just launched Season 9, and not only reworked Black Widow, but the entire team-up system as a whole. And as someone who only plays against bots, I can easily say this is the most fun I've had with this game since Season 5. But even still, it does not hold a candle to 2016 Overwatch. Because of the decline Overwatch has had over the years, a lot of people just like to forget that at one point, this game changed the internet, making streaming a viable career path and turning everybody into gooners. And I think the reason why it's the case is because when Overwatch came out, it was completely different compared to everything else coming out at the time. But by the time Marvel Rivals came out, we had already gotten too many hero shooters to keep track of, and the only reason Marvel Rivals has lasted as long as it did was because they made every character crackable. This on top of the fact that 2016 was when game devs were still innovating on the games they made, and the fact that you owned the games you bought back in the day, makes it very clear that in terms of gaming, 2026 is not 2016.
Oh, shittings.
Now, while the other topics were pretty debatable, I think we can all agree that the internet culture in 2016 was completely different, for better and for worse. Starting off with the good, because the adpocalypse didn't happen yet, people were able to make a lot of jokes without their career getting completely deleted. But unfortunately, this allowed for some of the worst people to be accepted by the general public. And I'm not talking about the people that use the hard R openly or harass people on a daily basis. I'm talking about the people who are the truest definition of the word scum. People like Shadman were openly working with other YouTubers. For those who don't know, Shadman was the guy who got a career drawing underage characters, which quickly turned into him drawing CP of real children. The most famous of which being Keemstar's, at the time, 11-year-old daughter that Chris Mr. Beast had displayed on his wall. And it wasn't just Chris Mr. Beast though. It was Elvis the Alien, Belle Delphine, Nextaku, the list goes on and on and on. Literally every big creator from this era was okay with Shadman. It wasn't until Chris Mr. Beast got exposed that people finally figured out who this guy was. This guy would post lolly hentai on Twitter and nobody would give a shit. And nowadays, if you tried to do this, you would most likely get jumped by everybody on the internet. But back in the day, you could get away with drawing the most egregious shit imaginable. In conclusion, no, 2026 is not the new 2016. But it does have the potential to be a top 5 year of all time. Unless I can't get monetized by the end. In that case, it's bottom 1.